Hey, welcome into Chatterbox Bearcats, the midweek show. I'm your host, Nick Niehaus, joined always by Eric Lily. And Eric, I want to start off this show by saying thank you. Thank you to the listeners and viewers of this show because you guys are truly sickos and must be diehard fans because my goodness, what is taking place with the Cincinnati Bearcat Hoops program at the moment. We had a good week. We had a good thing going. Back-to-back wins on the road at Colorado, at home, Arizona State, all to be undone with a loss against Texas Tech. Or at least that's what it seems like. That's how the fans are reacting. But yeah, hey, thanks for joining us. Make sure you like on YouTube and subscribe. And like I said, if you're listening to this, then you better subscribe because you're with us for the long haul. So anywhere you get your podcast as well. It's been a rough 24 hours for your boy, Lily. How are you feeling?
Not too hot, but I didn't watch the game live, so I feel like I didn't get the exact experience that everybody else got, which I should probably feel good about, that I didn't have to go through that. I watched it this morning, but it's a weird experience when you watch a game that you know is a loss. It's just different. I don't like it. That's the first time I've ever done that in my life. Typically, if we lose and I missed it, I just don't watch it and pretend like it never happened.
Well, you had a work event and
Yeah.
texted us, and you're like, "Hey, should I watch?" And it was like that scene in Interstellar where McConaughey is pounding on the glass, and he's like, "No, no, like don't do it. We're trying to save you." But you did.
I watched it on the treadmill today, and it was
Okay.
it
That
was
sounds double painful.
Yeah, I was
Screw
like, well,
that.
may as well just go all in on this, right?
Yeah, gosh. Hey, yeah, UC loses to Texas Tech. We're going to start off with that, but we obviously have the poll of the week, and then we'll get into a little BYU talk since we have that Utah trip coming up, and we'll finish with the mailbag as usual, as we do on the midweek show. I asked you how you're feeling, but give me a little bit about specifics in terms of what you felt watching this Texas Tech loss.
The rebounding stuff is officially concerning. We talked about how Texas Tech's a little smaller, and I thought maybe, the Dayton thing, maybe we can rebound well. But now this is like, it's now reached like 5 or 6 games in a row. Well, it's been the whole conference play, actually, I think, where I think when conference play started, we were top 20 in offensive rebounding. Now we're 55th. Our defensive rebounding isn't there. It's for a couple games, I was saying it felt like we were losing every 50-50 ball, and a lot of them felt fluky. But it's been 7 games now, and I think you can say it's not fluky. And I'm not saying they're not trying. I see a lot of people saying we're quitting and not trying and all that. I'm sorry.
I hate that.
These guys aren't quit. Like, I know people like to say things like that. Effort. No, we're just getting beat there. And it could be a size thing. Like Darian Williams, I wanted him out of the portal 2 years ago, and he's just a dog, and we don't have that. And every team we're playing has one of those guys. And that's the biggest concern for me going forward. And I know a lot of people are checked out now or think the season's over. You know me, I don't think it is. Give me till next Sunday, the West Virginia game. But we're lacking that dog. And I think Chuck mentioned that in the post game. Like, Skillings is very clearly either still recovering from the injury or being asked to do so much that he has lost his like elite rebounding skills. Maybe he figures it out at some point, but right now it's pretty concerning that he's not the guy that's just getting his hands on everything. And that's my takeaway from yesterday, really, is like the loose balls, the just getting beat with the physicality and hustle. And of course, just another another home game where the other team just shoots the lights out. I know that a lot of them were open, but it's, you know how many times those teams miss. I've watched games where teams just miss threes like constantly on their home on the road. Not last night.
Which doesn't happen against us. Yeah, I tweeted. I was like, it's like the 2018 Golden State Warriors came to play us towards the end of that first half when they really couldn't miss. You mentioned the rebounds. Obviously, offensive rebounding is going to be touched on in this game. They had 10, we had 3. But I liked what Hudson said in the post-game show where he's like, it's not only the fact that they had 10, it was like when they got the offensive rebound. I remember there was one possession, I think it was late in the first half. It was definitely in the first half where I think we were cutting into their lead or whatever. It's close, still a game, obviously. They get one offensive rebound. Okay. Miss another shot. Then they got another. They got 2 offensive rebounds on the same play and hit a 3. And that I think I went into like a catcher position. Like I was like Jorge Posada or something. Like I got down and I'm like surrender cobra down, like head in my knees. Like I was like, that's absolutely brutal. Cannot let that happen. 3-point shooting is what you bring up. That's what I'm going to talk about. You know, people have all of these, you know, reasons as to why UC is losing games. We shot just 20% from 3. If we count the whole shooting field goal percentage, UC outshot Texas Tech by 6%. We had 52%. They had now I'm looking at my phone, making sure I can't find my notes. We had 52% and they shot 45. Okay, so I was right. Does that math add? I don't even know. Anyway, we shot better than them.
Close enough.
They just shot threes and we just can't hit threes. Like sometimes I think I said this on the last midweek show. Like sometimes the reasoning is looking you right in the face, but you want to look like the smartest guy. So you're gonna like talk about hedge screen, like, oh, Jizzle James slows down the offense because he gets hedged on a screen and now he has to dribble 8 more times and everybody's out of whack. Guys, we can't shoot the ball. Sometimes it's simple. Like, you know how you score points in basketball? You shoot and you make it. Like, we can't shoot threes. Like, we outshot Texas Tech from the floor and lost. You can't shoot threes. And that's like the modern age. You know what my biggest pet peeve is? And this is kind of getting off track, but whenever it's like a 5-point game with like 40 seconds left and the announcer goes, you don't need a 3 here. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Don't get me started on that shit.
Oh my God. And maybe it's just because that's all I did playing basketball was shoot threes. I didn't even step foot in the paint. I only played through high school, but whatever. So I have an affinity to the 3 ball. But maybe it's that simple. Maybe it's because we just can't shoot threes. And I want to parlay that into the alpha on the team. Like I had, kind of reserved this take until we reached this point where I was like, Dan's an alpha, CMOS is an alpha. They're not alphas enough. Like we are missing Jaron Cumberland. We are missing Sean Kilpatrick, Deontay Vaughn. And now we have Sean Abayev who's going to come in next year. He's 18 years old. He's going to have a load of pressure on his shoulders, and everyone's going to look to him to be the guy. And that's just not fair to the kid because we haven't had an alpha, and we haven't been good since we've had one. When was the last time we were good? We had an alpha. So maybe the 2 reasons are simple enough.
And the fine margins here, like we lost by 10. And I saw a lot of comments about and remember, I didn't watch last night. So I saw these comments and I went into the rewatch thinking we just got our asses kicked. And we missed some open threes and they made, I started tracking like the one you said, the double offensive rebound for a 3. They had what looked like we were going to get a steal. And the ball just bounces right to one of their guys, wide open 3. And then another one where it looks like we got a steal, bounced right back up to a guy, and he passed it to somebody for an open 3. And this is a 10-point game. Like, if you rebound the ball there, and you get those 2 steals, maybe get a breakaway, like just a totally different game. And that's just how basketball works, that's the 10 points right there.
Yeah. I actually don't really put this one on Wes. Hard to say, because everybody's calling for his head, but like your guys got to make shots. Like I don't know. You're just not going to win if 2 of your 3 ball dominant scorers, aka CMOS and Dan, don't shoot well. And CMOS had 10 points, but 7 of them were free throws. He went 1 for 7 from the floor, and Dan isn't shooting well. Jizzle, thank goodness. Thank goodness for Jizzle. Without him, this would have been a blowout. But like Texas Tech hit every freaking shot, and UC struggles to shoot. Like, again, like I'm going to beat a dead horse. Sometimes it's that simple. And yeah, rebounding was a factor. Offense rebounds killed us. Like all of that stuff. It's all true. It is. But I just think it's looking us right in the face. Did you watched the post-game show, right?
Most of it.
So they took callers, which is awesome, by the way. I actually called in because I was stuck in Campus Green parking garage for 40 minutes after the game. If I could go on a 10-minute rant about that, but that was awful. So my buddy called in, put me on like I was a guest speaker, and he's like, "Hey, this guy's PO'd." I'm like, "Dude, I can't get out of the freaking parking garage." Whatever. But we had somebody call in from Maryland. I think it was Mark.
I saw that part.
Yeah. And he showed off his home theater. I'm like, is this dude just like this is the low point of our lives. This dude's just like, look at my sick home theater, which it was sick. Give him credit. He's living the life. But he's like, what he said 2 things. He said, the bigger the screen, the bigger the disappointment, which I thought was hilarious. But
flex.
Right. When I bring him up, why I'm bringing him up is because he said nobody comes into Fifth Third Arena afraid to play us. We are in a dangerous spot where it's hard to get out of. It's hard to get out of being a doormat. And like, I'm not saying we're there at all. We just beat 2 doormats. But nobody's afraid to play us. Like we're right in the middle. We are a middling team. And that's such purgatory. Like it sucks. And people were scared to play Jaron Cumberland. Somebody took a call later on from Houston. A Houston fan called in, and he's like, I hated Cumberland. And do you think anybody calls in and is like, I hate playing this guy, and he insert any one of the last 5 years?
I can't think of anybody.
Right? Like,
yeah.
And I'm not dogging our players. I'm just saying, like, we need somebody that people would be afraid to play, and we need that parlayed into the whole team.
And we aren't the Big 12 right now is just weird. Like we thought it was going to be like a crazy good conference, and turns out the SEC is the best conference that's ever lived this year. Like they just destroyed everybody out of conference to the point where they're going to break the record for most teams in the tournament. And the Big Ten's looking good too. So Big 12, ACC, Big East, it's just looking kind of rough. And after the top 5 in the Big 12, there's only 5 teams that are guaranteed to get in the tournament in the Big 12 right now, which is crazy, like absolutely crazy. And normally you would think this is horrible, this is off, but like maybe that's good for us if we could start beating these teams.
Yeah.
The teams that are at that level, because obviously I think it's safe to say we're not going to beat one of those 5 teams. We have Baylor at home, but I'll believe it when I see it.
I feel like I just said a lot without saying a single thing. Like that was just kind of like I'm upset rant, but I'll parlay it into we're 0-10 under Wes, quad 1 at home. So it's just like we can't beat an elite team. Like for people who don't know how the quadrants work, high level, it's 1 through 35 at home. Then if you go on the road, it's the net ranking like 1 through 70 or something. Those are fake numbers, but like once you have a road game, you can beat these middling power conference teams like in the 50s, 60s, and that'll still be quad one. So Wes has had a few quad one wins. He's great in the quad two. I know you said that, but like we have not beaten an elite team under Wes. Illinois, was that his first or second year? First year, probably.
First?
I think it was first. Illinois is the only thing you can point to. Texas Tech and BYU from last year. But like, maybe I sound like an idiot. Did Texas Tech or BYU do anything in the tournament last year?
Texas Tech ran into the fat guy.
Oh, NC State?
Yeah. And
okay.
That was bad luck, though. Texas Tech was small. There's 7-foot centers out all year, like the last month of the year. And it's like, of course, they get the one team.
Who's red hot and they're big guys.
But Niehaus, you almost nailed that. It's home 1 through 30, away 1 through 75.
Okay.
You were
all right. I knew it was around
for
there.
An example, like at Utah right now is a quad one game, guys.
Yeah, like
Utah just lost by 75 to Houston. They're
they
quad
scored
one
37
right
points.
Yeah, that's like road game. Like it's just, I like it. I think it's good for the most part, but we're gonna have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, we just haven't beaten any elite teams under Wes, and it's starting to get to me. Yeah, I mean, I my notes for this game is just a bunch of like miscellaneous takes. Like it's just like you can win when you bully a team like Dayton, but in big boy basketball like the Big 12, you need shot makers. Like what was the number one thing people pointed to as to why Mick couldn't win in March? It was guard play, shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shooting. Like just we didn't have goal. Like it was funny. Like I had a buddy when he's an IU fan, which is hilarious looking at it now. But he was my college roommate, and he's like, he'd always make the joke like, "You need shooters in March. Mick doesn't get shooters. That's why you're not winning." He's like, "Don't you want more? Don't you want more?" And I'm like, and I'm not just saying this acting like the smartest guy in the room, where I'm like, I feel like we're just a run away with Mick. Like we made the tournament every single year. I don't know how, looking back, I don't know how the hell we made 9 straight tournaments. I mean, I was a child back then, and it was like, it just seemed like something, you did. You just made the tournament. Now it's like, God, we can't even get in at all. But he'd always say guard
now too.
Yeah, he just always say guard play. He'd always make the joke. He'd look at me, he'd go, "Niehaus, it's guard play. It's guard play, Niehaus. Come on, you're not gonna win." It's when we lost to Iowa. But we don't have shooters. We still don't have them. And I thought we did. I think I overrated CJ Frederick off of a 2-for-5 shooting performance against Arizona State. I'm not saying he had a bad game. I just didn't think he did much.
I got to cut you off here real quick on CJ. Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Like there was 2 more he should have shot. Like I forget who the coach was there was a coach in the last week or two that when he benched a player and it went viral because, NIL, look at this guy. He's benching a player. Like he's holding his players accountable.
Oh, it was it's an older coach.
Yeah. And it was a shooter. And it was because he didn't shoot. And we can't, bench Frederick because he isn't playing that much. But shoot the ball, CJ. Like that's what you're on the court for.
Yeah, and the one he did hit the backboard in the corner, which that was rough. Maybe that's why he didn't. But dude, that has been my biggest gripe with him for 2 years. He gives up open shots. And then Dan didn't take one late that he should have absolutely taken. We just went 19 minutes on Texas Tech. So I think it's time to move on. That sucked. And we're kind of not moving on. We're kind of moving on to like state of the program stuff. So I have poll of the week. But I did 2 this week, the same question, just different times. If you listen to Sunday or Monday's show, it was, will Cincinnati make the NCAA tournament? 54% said yes. And I strategically, you know what, I got somewhat of a brain up here. Somewhat. I strategically tweeted that out on Sunday before the Texas Tech game. And I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to do it again after. And I did. I tweeted today, or I guess Wednesday, will Cincinnati make the NCAA tournament? 79% said no. So either I have a bunch of non-UC fans on following me, or the UC fans have flipped. Like, that was a do or die game. I would vote no. Because I just don't believe. I'm not saying we're like, this is going to sound stupid. I was going to say, I'm not going to say we're not going to make the tournament, but I'm voting no on us making the tournament. Like, yeah, that sounds stupid, but like, I don't believe we're going to, but like, it's still there. It's still possible.
Yeah. And I love those polls. Neil Slayton is his brand on Twitter. I don't know if you know who Neil Slayton is.
I've seen him.
He's been on Bearcats Twitter since I've been on, which has been almost 15 years now. He has the goofiest polls, and he always times them at the funniest. Like, it's like, yeah, that's what people are going to vote. Like, when UC was the year we got to the playoff and basketball wasn't doing too hot, he did a poll on who would you rather make the playoff or the March Madness, like which team, basketball or football? And everyone voted football. It's like, yeah, like that's what's happening right now. It's like people are feeling the love. Like, I like it though.
It's low hanging fruit. It's low hanging fruit, right?
It gets the pulse of the fan base, but it also shows like how reactionary people are. I'm still voting yes, but it's crunch time, folks, and I think you could tell based on how most people react to this stuff. It's urgent.
I think UC is a good team. Like, good. They're good.
But like, good with zero room for error now.
But it's like, hey, how was your day today? It's like, okay, you wake up, you go to work, you go home, you sit in front of Netflix for 5 hours, you go to bed. How was your day yesterday? It was good. That was a good day. Like, you did nothing. Like, UC to me is right now is nothing. And they're not bad. We're beating bad teams. Like, it's not like, I swear to good. Oh my gosh. I swear if I see one more time on Twitter, Sean Abayev is not coming to Cincinnati, I'm going to lose my mind on whoever tweets it. Like, Anthony Edwards went to Georgia and they were like, what, like 7-23 or something? Like, UC is, what are we? 12-6? Like, you think Sean Abayev even knows the record? Not a chance. So if I see that, I'm going to lose my mind. But anyway, that was completely random. But I'm just saying, like, we're good.
I'm with you on that.
Well, it's like, I think we can make the tournament.
He's got the UC gear on with Drewski. I mean, come on.
That's sick. That is sick. I think we can make the tournament. It's just like, you look at the games and the game, like, oh God, dude, I buy myself. It's like I force myself to believe in this team because, like, I don't think we'll beat any elite teams. I absolutely don't. So you need to take care of business against the bottom of the road Big 12, which we already have, except for Kansas State. I guess you get a pass is the first one, but I don't know. It's hard to get a pass now. Anyway, you look at the next 6 games. And before the season, I'm like, dub. Because you got BYU, Utah. And then you got BYU, Utah again at home after, is it UCF and who am I missing?
West
Virginia. West Virginia's good, and West Virginia's good, but like 6, and Hudson was saying, I'm not looking at these games anymore and saying these are winnable. I'm saying losable. Those are 6 winnable games for a 12-6 team. It's just, this feels awful. And again, I don't even think this Texas Tech loss is on Wes. Like, got to make shots. Like, Texas Tech made shots. And if it's on Wes, it's for how the roster was constructed, not for how he coached. And you know what? Maybe I'm missing things. Like I said, like, you can look at the high level stuff. Like, Jizzle James is not, on ball screens, getting hedged too hard and doing nothing. Like, sure, I'm sure there's stuff like that. But like, I'm seeing with my eyes, we are missing shots, and Texas Tech made shots. Wes wanted to, I know, did you see the face Wes made in the post-game press conference? I know he wants to go out there and make shots himself. I know he does. But
yeah, I thought
I don't know.
The presser was interesting. What did you think? Like,
well, I to be completely honest, I mean, I was in Campus Green. I haven't watched it. And I've been moving all day work after work. So I've not watched it, but now I'm going to, because if it was interesting.
I don't know, but I'm sure people just said the same shit they always say about Wes pressers. He remains steadfast that we're good, blah, blah, blah. And also feels like the shooting's going to get better, blah, 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 same things. But Page is up there. Talk about how well Page played. I still have some problems with Page, but he's at least showing positive flashes lately. Like 2 weeks ago, Page was nothing, right? Yeah. Like he was just bad. Now at least it's like you can still see the things that piss you off, but you're seeing the positives as well, like a little, maybe some hope. I'm just going to wait and see with Page, because some of this stuff just pisses me off. Like, I think he's better than Jamil, personally. I think Jamil is one of the worst Bearcats of all time. So I think Page is better than Jamil. But he mentions the offense and like how we're going to get better, and how we're like, he keeps emphasizing how much we're focusing on it right now. And you are seeing some things like, it's not great, but the offense has been better the past couple games. And just the stuff he's saying feels like he's kind of putting his reputation on the line. Like, it makes me want to believe that the offense is going to get better, but Wes is good at this stuff. So I shouldn't fall for it, but worse teams are coming up. So if the offense doesn't get better, then we're reaching disaster territory for sure.
It's funny that's your opinion on Page, because I'm the and usually I'm the not pessimist, but like I'm the reactionary, just going to scream into this microphone just for therapy reasons. And you're the optimist of the show, obviously. And I thought he's awesome. Like, he's somebody like, he has improved, I think. I don't think anybody would deny that. But he's obviously not there yet. He's a sophomore. He's somebody that I look at and I'm like, okay, senior year, he's probably going to be one of our better players, at least offensively. And that's not, whoa, Niehaus, go out on a limb. Hey, one of our better players. Like, I sure hope he is, but like, I think he might be a focal point on the offense in 2 years. He's somebody we're desperately missing. Like, it's hard to make shots when guys can get all up in your stuff, because we have no post presence, and we don't have that with Aziz. And then inside out balls, like you mentioned, like inside out is the easiest three in basketball. You get it to the big, somebody crashes down on you, you kick it right back out to the guard. You're already squared up to the basket, and you just let it fly. Like, that is the easiest three in basketball. I say it every time. At least that was,
I saw a lot of that from BYU last night. I just went in sicko mode and watched BYU play Colorado, and it was either driving kick or inside out three. Like, these guys chuck. So prepare yourself.
Well, let's get into it, because I was already ready. BYU on the road on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Hey, that's a good slot for us. That's how we won last year. ESPN gives UC a 35% chance to win on their matchup predictor. That actually shocked me, because both teams are 12-6, but BYU is 3-4 in conference. UC is 2-5. BYU has lost to Houston, Texas Tech, TCU, and Utah in overtime. And you spoiled it earlier. Utah just put up 37 points against Houston. Utah stinks. I just have it in my notes. Utah just put up 37 points against Houston. Utah stinks. We have a very similar resume. And folks, you might not believe me, so look it up yourself. UC's resume for the tournament is actually better than BYU's. Their best win is Arizona State. They have no good wins. Richie Saunders leads the way with 14 points per game, but you talked about another guy who's getting NBA draft hype. Do you want to talk about BYU as a whole, then get into that?
Yeah, and Saunders, I assume most people here haven't watched as much BYU as I have.
No, we're all asleep.
I stay up late, yeah. And I'm a Utah Jazz fan, so, I just got to tune in.
What?
Right?
I didn't know that.
I'm a Ute though, not a. I figured I'd have to pick one since I follow the Jazz. I'm a Ute. I like the colors better. They're cooler too. The whole campus isn't Mormon. They can drink coffee and Mountain Dew, I think, but
I don't know what they do.
But Richie Saunders is the guy that scares me the most. And you mentioned him, 15 points a game. He came out of nowhere. He's been at BYU for 3 years. He's just been killing it this year. And he's on NBA radars now. He's a wing, 6'5" wing. The one thing, let me finish with the scary part, I guess.
Yeah.
The 6'9" point guard, Igor Dimin, probably butchered that. 6'9" point guard, freshman, international. I don't know what to expect. Legit, no clue. Like, are we putting Day or Jizzle on it? Like, this guy's got
can't.
Maybe. I don't know.
Would Skillings go on him? 6'9"?
That's the thing is, like, Richie Saunders is 6'5", 200. He's a wing. Their best scorers are their wings and their guards. So I do not know what to recommend. West probably shouldn't listen to me in the first place. But Dimon can't shoot really well. 27% from three. But he is the top 30 in assist rate in the country. He gets blocks and steals. BYU has 4 guys ranked nationally in block percentage. They want you to shoot threes.
Oh, God.
So great. We've had that. We know how that goes typically. Maybe we'll make some. I don't know, guys. So the guards and the wings are who we need to watch out for the scoring. But the one thing I noticed, if you're looking to be an optimist, like I always try to be, their big men just didn't seem that impressive to me in terms of scoring and defense. Kebakeda, 6'8", 230. He's a center. Backup center, 6'6", 240. These are some big fellas. Both of their wing, like their fours, are 6'7", 6'9". One's a freshman. The thing that I really want to watch is Kebakeda. He's 6'8", 231. Top 5 in offensive rebounding in the country. Top 5 in defensive rebounding in the country. BYU, number 2 in the country in defensive rebounding. This is not a game where we're going to magically find our offensive rebounding. We got to make shots, guys. This is not the one. They're good at offensive rebounding too, but not nearly as elite. Defensive rebounding is far and away the thing they stand out with. And when they get their rebound, they push it. Making shots against these guys is I mean, making shots helps you win games, right? But that's we did it last year,
Yeah.
Remember last year it felt like we had no shot. I feel better about it this year, but I still don't feel good. Better than last year. They're old. They're deep. That's the last note I have here is depth. They played 11 guys in their overtime loss to Utah. 11. 9 of them over 5 minutes. So there's 2 guys that just kind of snuck in there somehow. Much deeper than we are. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The elevation is a real thing. It affects the point spread when the spread drops tomorrow or Friday, whatever. KenPom has BYU by 5.
Damn.
I don't think KenPom counts elevation, so I think the line will be closer to 6, 6.5. Last year, I think it was like 12, right? Or something crazy.
Yeah, it was high.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the one thing that I really like about this matchup is that their 5-man can't do what JT Toppin did. He can't do what Eric Dixon did. He can't do. We don't got to guard him on the perimeter, And their 4s, while they do shoot threes, they're not elite shooters at 3. So I can see the way we win the game. The 5s and the 4s aren't shooting. We make a couple shots. This team should be they have a top 30. They're 29th in offense, but they should be way easier for how we defend, I think, to guard than Texas Tech. So I think we got a shot here. BYU's resume is kind of shitty. I'm not convinced they're this good. Like the analytics like them a lot, but they like us too. I think this is an opportunity to try to flip the vibes for the Utah game, which we should. That's a game we should win.
I looked at BYU on their page, their resume, what they are in Ken Palm, and I'm like, come on, we can beat these fools. And then you just opened your mouth, and now I'm like, I don't know, Jim. No, that's tough. Everything you just said is quite the opposite of what I wanted to hear. Because, I mean, I haven't watched BYU. Like, they can block shots. They're going to force us to shoot outside. I don't know. Like, am I taking – I can't say am I taking it the wrong way. You just said it. Like, you literally just said, like, these guys – and rebounding. Like, we're not going to get any offensive boards, so we need to make the first shot. And we're a team who's struggling to shoot.
The defensive rebounding we have to nail, though. Like, because these guys chuck threes. So if we do get a lead, we can't have that bullshit that happened last night.
Yeah.
Where they get the recycled threes.
And, God, I had something. Oh, because we just saw this with Colorado and Ben got Dak. That guy blocked like 9 shots. We still won, so maybe that's not that big of a deal. I don't know, but like that was tough to watch. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, there's been a lot of discourse, especially from the pod father Chuck Walter, about West not needing 4 years to turn this thing around. You see it all over the country. Cincinnati native Pat Kelsey has got Louisville ranked. They're a wagon right now. I just saw the comparison between him and Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne was like 7-22 last year or something, and Louisville's what 15-5. That's off the dome from like 3 hours ago on Twitter. So if I'm wrong, just blame Lily. But anyway, my point is like a lot of these guys are flipping at year one. You're seeing it everywhere. West Virginia looks solid. All these places look solid. Like BYU thinks they hit a home run with their head coach, Kevin Young, NBA guy, all this stuff. And it's like this isn't a team that has completely turned it around year one. So like, I guess my point is like, if we're going to make the NCAA tournament, we got to take care of these games against non-elite teams because we have shown we cannot beat an elite team so far. And this guy, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about him. Like he's got an unlimited checkbook, which goodness gracious, I would love to have in Cincinnati. That's been reported everywhere. Like even your Utah Jazz, what's his name?
Danny Ainge, Ryan
Danny
Smith.
Ainge. Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is like giving him crazy money. Apparently, they just got the number 1 player in the country, AJ DeBansa, who looks like a freak. Like the kid's like an alien. So I feel like if you're going to beat BYU, do it now because these guys have money and they're going to spend it, and they just haven't done it yet. I feel like this isn't the team. Like they're probably not happy right now, but it's like how we were not happy with West year 1, year 2, where we're like, we'll be good. Just wait on it. He'll get his guys. Again, I feel like I just talked a lot and said nothing, but like, I think that's the state of BYU right now.
They're excited, but also thought they would be better this year. I'm unfortunately in BYU Twitter on both accounts, just from my personal account's a Jazz account, and then this one I follow BYU fans.
That's good.
So yeah, they're kind of, there's a little tension too, like, but not like ours. I don't think there will be any boo birds, anything like that.
Yeah, the issue is that we're year 4 and this is our record and our resume, and that's year 1 and that's their resume. I guess that's the point I was trying to make. It's funny what I said, like if we're gonna get them now. I'm going back to one of my buddies who's a Xavier fan. I'm just like bringing up unrelated stuff. And last year he's like, well, if you're not gonna beat us this year, what are you gonna? And I'm like, come on, Who you got coming? You Trey Green? How's he doing? He's gone. And of course, we beat them this year, and they just suffered a heartbreaking loss at St. John's. They kind of got hosed a little bit. I don't know if you saw the ref show there, but anyway, I don't even know what point. My brain is
saw
fried,
it. I loved
man.
it.
My brain is fried, Lily. Like I'm just saying stuff now. But yeah, hey, 38 in Ken Palm. We're 42 or so.
44.
44. They have the 29th best offense, 66th best defense, according to Ken Palm. You're gonna have to hit shots, like Lily said. They offensive rebound, no, they're good. They have a top 5 defensive rebounder, and you're gonna have to box out. So make shots, box out. There's gonna be I hope people on Twitter realize like half of my Twitter is a bit where like my keys, like my keys to the game was last against Texas Tech was like, make sure you clamp up Toppin and then get the hell out of CJ Frederick's way. Like it's kind of a bit, but like there's some truth to it. Like my keys are going to be make shots and box out.
It's better than the shit you see on TV broadcasts where they just say like make layups. Like
at least I'm like joking. Anything else from BYU? I got nothing else. I haven't watched them play, so you just enlightened me. I'm glad the listeners the listeners learned a lot from that. I'm sure.
Yeah, they're tall. They shoot a lot of threes, and they let people shoot a lot of threes. It's going to be a make or miss league game, I think.
Oh, great! I literally I cannot fathom. I can't even explain how much I hate hearing you say that. All right, mailbag time.
I'm going in blind.
I'm about to have a take here that any competent person in athletics would look at me and think I'm an idiot. And I don't care because I think this brings up a good point. Threemos Lukoswish at Tuck Wittenberg. I guess that's his name. I don't know. But this guy's like a pseudo burner. He's kind of a burner, but kind of not. It might be his name. He replied, "Is it possible our lack of competitiveness and fire?" Okay, I'm going to stop there. I don't think we necessarily have a lack of competitiveness and fire. So I want to start off with that. I don't think this question pertains to us, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead. Is it possible our lack of competitiveness and fire is due to funneling too much NIL money to these players? Back in the day, players were fighting to prove themselves to try and make it to the league to make money. Now they are getting absurd amounts of money. Are they coasting?
Can I say something?
You go first.
Texas Tech pays their players more than ours, and they played harder.
Okay. I mean, that's the answer. But this is I saw this and I'm like, I wanted to reply. I don't want to reply to any mailbag and give away my answers because why would people listen? But like, the emoji with if people not on YouTube with the hand on the chin, like it's my favorite emoji, like questioning. That's my answer to this. Like the questioning, like, maybe. Like I don't necessarily think that's the case with this team, but that absolutely could be the case individually for somebody. Because it's one thing to make no money, go to Europe, and I don't know how much Europe contracts are, so maybe I'm not the right guy to answer this question. But it's one thing to have no money in college, coast off the free meals and the free gear, and then you see it on Facebook Marketplace. And then go to Europe and earn, I don't know, like $200,000. I have no idea. Again, obviously it depends on the country. And then it's another to make more at Cincinnati and have that safety blanket and not be like the hungry dog gets the bone, Lily. Like guys with no money, like they're going to fight. Like they're going to get in somebody's face and yell at them. I don't know, but this again, like, do I think this is the case with Cincinnati? No, I don't, but not a bad thought. I feel like
I've seen this a lot on Twitter. not just Tuck. And Tuck, I thought the question's fine. I just think it's dumb. These guys have been getting paid a lot for years.
That's true.
And it depends on the team and the player. Like, obviously the whole team wasn't getting paid and stuff like that. But I just see it like I follow on my Bearcat Bunch account. I follow every 5 to 10 accounts from every team in the league. And whenever a team loses a game, I see fans tweeting this shit. I just don't think it's a thing. I think it's just it's a new NIL narrative. Like pro sports, it's just guys try.
I'll tell
Some
you
guys
what,
try, some guys don't. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and lack of trying is not this team's problem. And lack of competitiveness is not this team's problem. These guys can't make a shot. Can you go on a little spiel real quick about that while I pull up our last 5 box scores and see what our 3-point percentage was?
And they're like, I think what people are seeing when they say stuff like this is like, we're losing loose balls and all that. And I don't think it's because of effort, but there is that extra 5%, right? Like that little extra effort that makes it stand out and be a Bearcat. And we're not seeing that right now. And it's got nothing to do with being paid. Like, it's just, I think it's more, if we don't make the tournament and we end up having this disaster season that a lot of people seem like is happening, I don't think it's because they're getting paid. I think, or because they're like, oh, we have money and we're not going to play hard. No, it's just like the other guys played harder. Or it's just that extra 5%. It's not a money thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, having no money does not make the ball go into the hoop. Interesting thought though, because I'm sure that is the case with some teams and some players. Like there's that is absolutely the case.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's probably a small amount, but that is 100% the case with some teams and some players.
AJ Storr is probably a good example.
Yeah.
For Kansas, he might be one of our best players and he can hardly get on the floor at Kansas. And he's been chasing bags for 3 years, right?
That's true. This is another interesting one too. This guy always gives a good one. Cord 741. This is the Bears fan. All things considered, and then in parentheses, including playoff expansion, obviously football, would we have been better off contending for national championships in any sport by staying in the AAC? I got to be honest, Lily. I got to be honest. It's such like these guys, they came with the fire today. Like they're making me think.
They're testing me.
Like football? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I don't know what this I don't know if we God, I can't just say we'll never compete for a national championship. Is then like, what am I doing here? But do you think we'll make a Final Four in football anytime soon? I mean, come on.
We had one chance to win a college football title. It was in 2021. It won't happen again.
No.
In Cincinnati football history, we are not winning a title. I'm sorry.
No.
But it doesn't mean we can't have fun and try to grow and like the only scenario where it happens is if one of you guys listening to this show becomes a billionaire, and then while you fund the team, you can also sponsor the podcast, all sorts of things. It's just college football is while the access is cool, like Arizona State, sweet story. We did it in a 4-team playoff. Awesome story. It's just not going to happen. There's not going to be, and I sound like those national podcasters that always say there's not going to be a Cinderella. There really isn't.
No, it's like, football.
There can be Cinderellas, but like when it's football, violent, the bigger athletes, the better players are going to win. Like, eventually you're going to get got. So for football,
we missed
our chance. I think we had a chance in 2021 for what it's worth. We just blew it.
Yeah, we got how many guys we get drafted? We definitely had a chance.
Basketball,
No.
though.
So I guess the answer is no. Well, yeah, basketball. Well, because like you said, football inherently is the bigger, stronger, faster guy is going to win 9.9 times out of 10.
And March Madness, anything can. San Diego State almost won.
Yeah. So, and you know what? And it's hard to say yes or no. It's hard to say no, considering how UC has been in the Big 12, and I know it's year 2. And Mick took us to 9 straight tournaments in the they weren't all in the AAC. We weren't even
Big
in there
East,
Big East AAC
and AAC, yeah.
But like they weren't like I said earlier in the show, they weren't battle tested. I didn't say that earlier in the show. Like we didn't have the guards or the shooters or the primetime players. Well, we did have some primetime players, but didn't have enough shooters to win the tournament. And they also weren't battle tested to an extent. You had a few games here and there, right? I mean, obviously, Houston, Wichita State, whatever. But I'm going to say no, we would not have been better off by staying in the AAC because our only shot at a championship is basketball, except the mascot. Mascot just won a natty. Give it up. Give it up to the Bearcat.
That Big 12 money.
Yeah, but no, yeah, no. No.
Yeah, basketball can win a championship. Like, it's March Madness.
Yeah.
Really.
NC State just made a Final Four.
Yeah, I think there's South Carolina made one.
Yeah.
Every year, I know, like you'll see these national articles like, here's the teams that can win it all, and it's like 6 teams. Like, no, it's more like 10 to 15 every year, at least to get to the Final Four. And then you never know what can happen in one game. That can be us. It's just every time we make it, we don't go on a run. That doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, though.
Yeah. Jeff Lawson. His name on Twitter is Left Jawson. There is plenty of criticism being thrown around this team, and most of it is deserved. But are we really as bad as we believe we are? The results have been disappointing, and we are not a top team right now. But we can't be that bad, can we? No, we're just not any good. Like, we're not bad. I don't think this team's bad, but we're not better than good. Like, we're beating the teams we should beat, and we're losing to the teams that we should lose. Well, with the expectation we put on preseason, we're not beating the teams we should beat. But how we've been the last 4 years, we're beating the teams we should beat and losing to the teams we should lose to. That's the issue. And people are starting to get, like, seriously sick of it. Like, that's why people are calling for Wes, is because it's year 4 and we're not elite. And this is Cincinnati, a program with 2 national championships and 6 Final Fours and 9 straight tournament appearances. I remember I would send that tweet every year where it's like, you know what program has been to the tournament the longest? It's like North Carolina, Kansas, and Cincinnati.
Gonzaga.
And we haven't done anything. So I think people are just getting restless and just upset because we're not elite. Like, Wes Miller, the last 4 years, if he's at, I don't know, Rutgers, nobody's calling for his job right now. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I say it out loud.
Maybe. Yeah. I think
but
so.
not like he is here. So
yeah, we have standards here.
I don't think we're that bad. No, I don't think we're bad. I don't even think we're bad. We're just mid. Just mid.
Yeah, it's weird. We're at 54 minutes, so I'm going to try to hurry here, but
yeah,
it's just weird because, like, we had these expectations. We lost the Villanova game. The expectations kind of went down there. Then we beat Xavier and Dayton. Expectations went back up. And then the Kansas State game feels like a turning point to me where it felt like a good spot. You had a week off. They're dead in the water. The coach is a weirdo. Like, I'm going to say.
I love you saying that.
He still is a weirdo. He's still a weirdo, guys. And then we started lowering our expectations. Mm-hmm. But then we lost Arizona, Baylor, Kansas, Texas Tech. And a lot of times you see teams at our level, which is we're a top 50 team right now. We're on the bubble. Bubble teams beat teams like that. We haven't. So it's like this weird purgatory where I think fans are accepting what we are, but also like, why can't we just beat one of these teams? Like, why can't we do it? Like, if you look at analytics, we're right next to West Virginia in all of them. And West Virginia's beaten 4 top 20 teams. Arizona, Gonzaga, Iowa State, and Kansas away. They beat Kansas away. But I can tell you with a straight face right now, I think we could beat West Virginia twice. They're not like they beat 4 top 20 teams. I'm not scared of them. Like, I know a lot of people are, and they think they're a better team, but they're a better resume for sure. Like, not even close. But it's just been the weirdest roller coaster. It's like we need this shit to stop, though. Like, it needs to stop soon.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to lose my head, and you know me, I'm well reasoned, almost too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot for the last one. Because Big Ed, this is a fun one to end on. We got 4 minutes, Lily. Countdown starts now. Which former Bearcats still have eligibility under the new laws? I assume he's talking about the JUCO. And I know he's like, being funny, like we suck.
Nick Van Exel.
I was, all the ones that Huggins got 2000s and Mick got early on. Like, I was busy learning pre-algebra. When do you even learn pre-algebra? 7th grade, 8th grade? I don't even know. But that's how old I was for Mick.
Oh man, Roy Bright. I don't know. I'm thinking of random.
Yeah, I don't even know.
We have
like who's JUCO, and that's worth bringing up.
There's so many of them, right? Huggins team had 3 or 4, right?
Well, Van Exel is the JUCO that everybody looks at. That's the one. I can't even think.
We need more help than that, though. Yeah.
Then obscure JUCO players from the 2000s.
Yeah, I need a stretch 4, guys.
You know what? And we have a few minutes, and I act like it's like the hour mark is a hard out. Like, it's not. I just don't want to go over an hour. But
Zero people will listen if we hit 1 hour and 1 second.
We had that question a month back where it's like, who would you put in the last 10 years on this team? And you had Gary Clark. Have you changed your answer to Jaron Cumberland?
I've actually thought about this recently.
That's who I am. That's who I'm going. I no doubt about it. I'm going.
Like, no
Jaron
doubt.
Cumberland.
Like, for sure.
For sure. For sure.
I got to think about this for a second again. You know what I'm doing? You know what I'm going? I'm switching it.
Jacob Evans.
Oh,
I like that. I like that.
He's a good shooter. And I think, like, while Mitchell's a really good defender, and Wes is hyping up Skillings as a really good defender, I'm not sure I buy that. I've seen a lot of mistakes from him this year. But Jacob kind of fixes all of that to me because he was an elite defender, athletic, makes threes. He didn't have like that elite finishing at the rim or the ability to get to the rim, but I'm switching from Gary to Jake, and shout out Gary though. Like, that's just a team fit thing. Like, it would not to like rip on Mitchell
not to
too
say
much,
Gary,
but it gives us more options there. Like, because we'd have so many options with Jake. It'd be great.
Yeah. All right, that's the show. We got BYU on Saturday. It's a 10 p.m. tip, so Chuck and Houdini, 1 a.m. post-game show. But it's a call-in. I'm going to call in. And then Utah on Tuesday. Or what? You going to call in?
Oh, man, that's late. Yeah, I'm calling in after the win. I'm going to have a cup of coffee in my hand.
Oh.
Because caffeine's good. It's healthy.
Okay.
It's great. It's not a shot at Mormons at all.
Uh-huh.
Shout out Max Morrison for the tweet. I don't know if you know this, but he tweeted after we lost to BYU in football that at least we can drink Mountain Dew.
Okay. Love it. Love it. All right, that's the show. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. Go Bearcats.